Greetings, everyone. This is Jeff Wilkerson, professor of physics at Luther College, bringing you the next in our series of what to look for in the night sky. We're talking about October 16th, 2023 this time around. We've been watching Venus, right? This is what we've been doing every morning. We've been enjoying the Venus show in the morning sky. And this past week, we had the moon slide there. Venus was near Regulus, the bright star in Leo, and the moon slipped past there, and we had Algedi to the north of there. It was just a beautiful sight. Venus has been tracking easterly, prograde motion, the typical direction of motion, easterly through Leo. And this week, it'll start near Rho Leonis, where it ended last week, right on top of Rho Leonis, and it's going to track to the east and end the week, barreling right down on 59 Leonis. And we'll pick it up there next week. We're going to start every week here for a little while. We may be pretty close to done with this sort of fixation on Venus. But to say that 59 Leonis, it's gonna, if it does, it's really headed right toward 59 Leonis, and it's a pretty faint star. So you'll probably want your binoculars to track this this progress of Venus toward 59 Leonis. But you might be able to see it blink it out. I haven't looked that far ahead to see if it's actually going to be an occultation for anybody to see that's how close Venus is going to get. So watch that tracking toward a faint star. By the end of the week, we're talking about, we start the week on the 16th here. We're talking about the 22nd to 23rd. This is all in the morning, right? Venus rises. It's well up in the sky. I've been seeing it at 4:30 in the morning, and it's well up in the sky by 4:30 in the morning, and it stays dark late enough now that you've got time. You've got a couple good hours at least to be seeing this this event. So start the week. Pay attention. If you're up in the morning, pay attention to Venus. But in the evening sky on the 18th, we'll say, okay, the moon has been waning away, and now it's filling back out, and so the moon's going to spend this week filling out. It's about 18 to 20% full. It varies enough over the course of the night, right? That it depends what time in the evening you look at it. And it's about 5 degrees from Antares, and it's moving away from Antares. It's moving easterly against the stars as well. So you got bright orange star Antares and a nice 18 to 20% full moon, a nice beautiful crescent moon there. So be sure to check this out on the evening of the 18th. That's Wednesday evening. And so the later you observe, if you're observing east of where I am, again, I'm in the middle of the United States. So here in the middle of the United States, when it gets dark, 5 degrees-ish, it's probably a little less than that, and as it gets a little bit later, that distance is going to grow. But Antares is in the heart of Scorpius. This is one of the stars of summer. So we're seeing, as we get deeper and deeper into fall here, we're seeing these stars of summer disappear. So, you've got the moon that's not yet very full, so you have to look west towards sunset to see this. And we can watch this nice orange star here. We can watch the moon pull away from it as the evening wears on. But on that night of the 18th, Saturn is rising Saturn rises for me by 4:30 or something like that. So when it gets dark, it gets dark relatively early now. So when it gets dark, it's 6:30 or 7, it's good and plenty dark. We can go outside and we can look, and Saturn's well up, still well east of the meridian. It hasn't risen to the meridian, remember, is the north-south line that passes directly overhead. And so you still have to look south and then look to the east a good ways. And there's the bright object you'll see in that direction. It has kind of a yellowish hue to it. That's Saturn. And so Saturn is one of the brighter objects. It's in a region of stars that aren't very bright right around it. So it'll be the brightest object in its part of the sky. And there's Saturn, about 32 degrees, about 3 fist widths over, if you connect the moon. So if you draw a line from the moon to Saturn, it's about 75 degrees. So that's a big, long stretch of sky across there. That's over half. When you're looking that far south, that's over half the horizon across that direction. So it's a big chunk of sky if you go from the moon about 75 degrees. Now, in between them, on the line that connects them, is a globular star cluster, M75. And you might want to remember we talked about globular star clusters just last week, that they live in this halo around the center of the galaxy, hundreds of thousands of stars, beautiful objects, probably a telescopic object. You need your telescope there. It's about 32 degrees from Saturn to M75 and another 44 degrees on over to the moon from M75. So it's about 3/4 of the distance from Saturn to M75 as it is from the moon to M75. So that's what we're talking about here. And so See if you can find M75. Now, another way to find M75, if you go here from Saturn up to here, you'll see two stars that are about third magnitude stars. Third magnitude stars are easily visible stars, but not bright stars. They're not stars that are going to pop out. And you're going to say, whoa, look how bright and beautiful that star is, right? So you see two stars that look kind of like a snake bite. That looks like a bing, a couple of stars, both around third magnitude. They're in Capricorn. That's Algedi and Dalbih. And these sit about 8.5 degrees to the north and a little bit east of M75. Then you go on across, so you're following this line on across this direction. The first sort of brightest star you come to is Nunki, which is the upper star in the handle of Sagittarius. So you have the teapot asterism of Sagittarius, and the handle you can see right there, and Nunki is a nice second magnitude star. So it's brighter than these stars. So you make a sort of triangle this direction with M75 at this vertex. And it's not twice as far from M75 to Nunki as it is from Dalbih and Algedi down to M75. So see if you could find that pattern of stars. Find Saturn, find the moon, then look for this snake bite of stars above M75, and there you go. If you haven't seen stars in Capricorn before, or if you haven't seen, Deneb Algedi is the tail of the goat. It's way over here, and Saturn's been close to that for a long time. We've talked about Deneb Algedi till you're sick of hearing about it in these little short films. And so this is the other end of Capricorn, but there's a chance to see a couple of new stars here. Now, Dalbih is the beta star in Capricorn. It's a double star, and it's a really easy double star to split, over 200 arc seconds separated. We've talked a lot in recent weeks. We've stumbled across some double stars that you need to work pretty hard with your telescope to tell there are two stars here. This is easy. Some people might even be able to see it with their naked eye, but it's if it were bright enough. But a pair of binoculars, you're going to see that Dalbih is a double star. So your binoculars are going to do great for you right there. So we do that. And that's a great way to try to find. So enjoy the double star Dalbih. See if you can find M75. By 2 nights later, this is all in the evening. Remember, Venus was in the morning. This is in the evening as it gets dark. By 2 nights later in the evening on the 20th, Friday, the moon will have filled out to more than a third full. So the moon's still, it's still a crescent moon. But it's filling out, and it's moved easterly as it does, and it's right next to Nunki here. It's within 3 degrees. It's less than 3 degrees as the night passes here below Nunki, and M54 is another globular cluster, is going to be just about a degree south of the moon. So if you get your telescope out, the moon's going to wash it out somewhat. So the moon's not super bright at 35% full, but it's bright enough it's going to wash that region of the sky out and make this harder to see. But it's worth a shot because it's so easy to find. Start at the moon and just slide about a finger width at arm's length down from the moon and see if you can see M54. I might suggest you do it with your binoculars if the moon weren't there. But with the moon washing it out, I think you're going to need a small telescope. So that's your telescopic object for the week. M75 and M54, these are your telescopic objects. Your binocular objects are watching Venus approach 59 Leonis and seeing Dalbih split into 2 stars with your binoculars. And then without the binoculars, without any optical aid at all, you can watch Venus track east. You can see the moon near Antares, and you can see the moon near Nunki, and learn these stars in Capricorn. And that's what we got this week. It should be a great week, everybody. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll have something new for you next week.